Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning, and I'm going to make this bushing installer and knockout tool. I'll get you down here and show you what it looks like and what the settings are on the different sizes of bushings that you can knock out with it. Okay, here's what it looks like. It is 6 5/8 long, and the bushings that you can install or knock out are, the OD on them are 5/16, 3/8, ½ inch, 5/8, and 3/4. The total length of this is 6 5/8. It's knurled on this end with a radius on the end where you drive it with a hammer. And this turned out pretty nice. It'll do the job if you need to knock out some small bushings and reinstall the right size. So we'll get started here and get this thing going. All right, I've got this piece of 1.1/8 in the lathe now. I'm going to center drill this end, and then I might have to do it a couple times. I'm going to then put a radius on that. It'll be the top end where you pound on it to use as a remover installer on bushings. So we'll go ahead and center drill this and then do the radius. Okay, we're gonna get our radius tool set up in there. It's a edge rounding tool clamped in a holder here, and start doing that, and I'll run it real slow and get a radius on that. All right, I'm at the back end of the lathe here, so I'm just going to show you this spider I made for this. The set screws are a little bit long, but see, this piece that's in there is long, and I didn't want to cut a piece off. I figured I'd just work it out as I go. And what I've got here is some 3/8 set screws. They're a little bit too long, and on those set screws I took and bored the end just a little bit with a drill bit, and I epoxied a ball bearing in there. So I got a nice round surface to touch on there. So it works really nice to hold it from whipping around inside the headstock. Okay, we'll go back over now and do the radius. Okay, I've got my tool in here. It's a edge rounding tool. Okay, remember this is like for ½ inch or 1 inch or something like that. I'd have to go look at the box. I've seen people do this on YouTube, and it works pretty good to do a radius on that ball end. I mean, on this end that I just face and center drilled. And we'll get started. I'm just going to run 132 and hand feed this in. We'll get a little oil going here. Touch off again. I think that'll do it. Looking pretty good. I'll polish it up a little bit on my deburring wheel. So next we're going to do is turn this down to 15/16. I'll have to check that measurement on the length. So we get set up here and start turning. All right, I got it all set up here. We're going to turn this down. I just did a little bit here to see how she would handle it. Right now I'm just taking 50 thousandths at 937 RPM and about 6 thousandths or so per rev on the feed. We're going to go down to 15/16 OD and 6 3/4 in length. So we'll get started here and start doing some turning, get down a little bit more, and then I'll check it with my 1-inch micrometer here. Well, it's breaking some chips, but they're long ones. I'm going to try my 431 instead of this 432. All right, let me check with my calipers here, see where we're at. At 1.075, 1.075, so still about 1 3/4. No, not 1 3/4. Let me double check this again here. We're up there a ways. I can take off. I'm going to try 100 thousandths on this next cut, see how she does. I've got to touch off again and then set my X to 0. All right, we're going to try 100 thousandths. And there we go. There we go. We're breaking the chip and doing a nice finish. Instead of having those bigger ones flying every place, I got a nice small chip. Uh-oh, I forgot I got a little longer here. I got to reset my carriage stop to that different insert in here. Take my carriage lock and reset it here. And just go over close to that shoulder and then reset. Good enough. Oops, I gotta stop here. Cut that off here. All right, now we'll set the carriage stop here. That's doing a pretty nice job. That's at 937 at 6.5 thousandths feed rate. Making a nice shiny finish. At least I'm getting small chips instead of them great big ones. Okay, let me just double check this, see where we're at. Kind of in the way here of everything. I'm going to run this back and get my mic on here now. I can't get my calipers to set straight there. It's very warm already. Okay, I'll double check it with my mic, but I'm at 0.976, and I got to go to 0.9375. I'm going to pause you here and I'll do some measurements. All right, I had to let this cool down for a while. It was pretty hot. I just took a measurement with my micrometer, and it says I need to take off 34.5 thousandths. Well, I'm going to take off 25 and then take some measurements. And this end here, the reason it, when I fed back, it started cutting some more, my tailstock live center came loose. So we're going to try this now. We'll go to, what did I say, 25? Yeah, let's try 25. Okay. All right, there's 25. We'll go from here now. All right, yeah, it didn't do as nice of a job as the 100 thousandths, the same speed and feed. All right, let's see what we got here. Do a couple of checks. Having trouble with this end here. Let's see. That looks pretty good. 9513. Where I'm at here. Looks pretty good right there. 952. So right there I got about 1 thousandths taper on it. So let's take this dimension and figure out how much more we got to come off here. 951. Let me do some calculations and I'll get right back here. All right, let's see if I got my calculations right. It says I need to take off 14 and a half. I'm just going to take 13 and a half and see how it turns out. I changed the speed up a little more to 1282, see if I can polish that up just a little bit better on the finish. All right, let's go here. Yeah, that's a little better. Not a great finish. I think I was getting chips stuck in behind the tool here. Darn thing. I have to polish that a little bit. That's pretty hot yet again. I think I got a bad insert. Yeah, it's chipped. I should have saw that. Right there on the edge. All right, I got to do some measurements, see how we came out. All right, I just used my bell sander here off camera. I didn't have it turned on. This little one here I got's really nice because it's not just a straight one, it flexes, spring loaded. And I'm within, from here on this end to the center to this center, they're only off maybe 1 to 2 tenths of 9.9375, so that's plenty good enough. It'll work for me. Okay, we'll get started on the next part of the project. All right, excuse me. I did this knurl off camera. I wanted to check it and mess with this. I've only used this once playing with it. Now just did this knurl here. It's not bad. It's not a perfect knurl. I got to practice with this. This is a Zeus cut knurling tool. It's double, so it cuts both top and bottom, and you can go right and left with it either direction, but just by flipping it over. I got to practice some more on it, but it's not a bad knurl. Now I'm going to set up, and on the plans I've got to go in here, right even with this edge, 1/8 inch deep, 1/8 inch wide. So we'll get set up on that right now and finish this up for the day. All right, I'm set up here. See if you can see you. Yeah, you're on the camera. Okay, we're just going to go touch off and go 1/8 of an inch deep. Right about there. Lock the carriage. Touch off here. All right, there's my 1/8 inch deep. I gotta come off here and clean this up here a little bit. There we go. You have to chamfer those just a touch. Those will be all right. This is the end you're gonna pound on with a hammer to push the bushing out or put a new one in. Okay, we're done for the day. We're gonna call it the day and then get on it the next day or so and finish this up. Okay, I chamfered those edges off. I didn't bother to turn the camera on, but I wanted, before I take this out of here, now that you can see this pretty good, I'm going to cut this off to length, and then I can hold this knurl in a 24 millimeter ER40 collet, and then finish the rest of this up between collet and the center. So we're good for now, so we'll see you in a little while. All right, I faced this end off camera here. It's ready to go. The distance between the end here and my mark line over here is 4 1/8. I've got to turn that down to 3/4 of an inch to start with, and then start stepping it down from this end down to here. So first of all, we're going to center drill this and get set up with the live center in here, and then we'll start our turning. Run that down to 654. Okay, I'm going to stop this just for a minute because I've got to get my other live center set up. It has interchangeable ends in it. I want to put a real small one because we'll see what happens here. This is supposed to go down on this end to 5/16, but I don't know. I have to figure out what kind of a tool I want to get in there and do that small one. So we'll stop here for a second until I get my center set up. All right, we're going to touch off and take 50 thousandths here, and I'll do some measurements and figure out how much more I got to take it off. I got to take this down to 3/4 OD at 4 1/2 inch, 4 1/8 inch, get it right, 4 1/8 inch long from the end here. So let's touch off and get a zero set. I'm going to run that a little slower instead of the 900. I'm going to run our 654. Maybe turn it up when I get close to being a finish. Okay, so now zero out my DRO, and let's take 50 off here. Might even do some hundreds, but let's see. Let's try 50. All right, there we go. Collect all the chips. $100 now. Okay, let me do some settings, or check the diameter, I mean. Wait a minute here. .885. I know I probably got a taper going here. 0.885. .885. Well, that's good for now. Let's see if it holds up as being a straight turn. Okay, hang on a second. I got to do a couple other things here first before we get going some more. All right, I got my DRO set up so I can keep an eye on it. I'll stop before I reach 0.750 and do some checking, but we're going to take 50 at a time here. I'm slowed my speed down again. I'm going to see if I can break those chips off a little bit better. I'm set at 494 and about 13 thousandths, I think, per rev. Okay, let's go. Yeah, that's better. I don't like those chip cleaner plates. That's all right. One second finish. All right, we'll try another 100,000 here. Or no, 250. Okay, we're down to 176, 176. Get closer, I'll cool down to finish cuts. All right, I'm going to check this with my micrometer, see where we're at. If it matches the 176, even close to it. 178.65, 178.64, so only 10 difference. Perfect. Okay, let's see what 50. I'm going to calculate real quick, so I have the answer on the X. Okay. Well, it says I need 36 thousandths on my calculator. How warm is that? Yeah, it's pretty warm. I'm going to let this cool down before I finish up. It's really hot right now. We'll pause the video. I'll try cooling this down with some air. Okay, my measurements are still about the same, even if I cooled that down. But we need about 36 to come off there. I'm going to take 15, a little higher speed here at 650, and then we'll get another measurement on it. We're taking off 15 thousandths, yeah. All right, you got to keep doing measurements on this old machinery, those are get way out of whack. So we'll see where we're at here. It should be around 0.771. .773. .773. Okay, I'm mainly not concerned about this end. I only need 1 inch of this end to be on the 3/4. So we just got to take off about, let me see what that would be. Get the old trusty calculator out. 0.773. Well, it still says 20 thousandths. Let me do some more checking here. The DRO's giving me a little different reading. I got 23 thousandths needs to come off yet. Well, let's see what the DRO, that's not reading accurately. My micrometer is more accurate. So 773. All right, let's take off, try about a 19. Let's go with this and see where our measurement comes out. I should be getting closer now, hopefully. You got to sneak up on this old lathe. Like I said, this can be off a little bit too. It's just a bushing driver. 755. Looking at 5,000s. Okay, let's see. Yeah, 755, and I got 754 up on the DRO. Okay, we're going to go like this and take 4 off of it. All right, now we're going to speed this up on this final cut. Go to 937. There we go. Final cut, I hope. Okay, let's see where I landed on this. See how accurate I hit this one. Hopefully. See what's the temp. Yeah, just barely warm here. $751, 1,000. So I'll just polish that a touch. And we got her. Okay, we'll start on the next one here in a little while. I got to leave 1 inch at 3/4 at this end.